Law and Home Affairs Minister Shanmugam says that authorities will look into ensuring that Singapore's fight against the novel coronavirus is sustainable, as some officers work round the clock to contain its spread. He visited police and civil defence officers who have been roped in to work on the front lines.
The battle against the coronavirus cannot be fought alone. The Singapore Civil Defence Force is supporting the Health Ministry in its quarantine procedures. On Tuesday, it deployed 5 teams of medically trained personnel to collect test samples at government quarantine facilities. Nasal swabs had to be obtained from quarantined Singaporeans who recently evacuated from Wuhan. At one facility at the National Community Leadership Institute, the officers work in teams of 3. One of them, in full protective gear including goggles, masks and gloves, was seen entering the rooms to obtain samples. To do that, CNA understands that the thin swab is inserted through the nostrils to the back of the nose. 2 other officers waited outside and helped with disinfection. SCDF will then transport the samples to the labs for testing.
I've said this several times, it's been a big strain on all the officers. For many, it's round the clock sense that, and we have to make sure that this is sustainable. So we have to look at how to make it more sustainable. It's not going to be possible to carry on at this pace for a long time. So we have to look at how to make it sustainable. The officers have put in a tremendous amount of effort.
During a visit to the CID Command Centre earlier in the day, the Minister also shared that police officers have been pulled in from various units to help with contact tracing, such as their work in establishing the links between the cases from the Life Church and missions.
When the husband and wife were identified, they developed the illness, the data was passed on to the police. Police looked at their movements. Some of the officers who were doing this noticed that some of those in Singapore had gone to a certain church in MacPherson, the Life Church, and the 2 cases, 8 and 9, also had been to that church, and so they dug in for more. But the key thing here was to first identify carefully and track the movements step by step, and then having picked out the similarities. It's a lot of painstaking work, you can imagine, because this is movements over several days to different places.
Investigators say the work is challenging, involving extensive legwork on the ground and painstaking data analysis.
In particular, we help to identify links across cases which initially seem unrelated, such as the cluster at the church in Paya Lebar. With our investigative expertise, we also help to trace close contacts who were initially not identifiable.
As of noon on Tuesday, the Health Ministry has identified more than 1,100 close contacts. Of the 1,021 still in Singapore, almost 1,000 have been contacted and are being quarantined or isolated. Efforts are still ongoing to contact the remaining 32 close contacts.